Hello everyone and welcome to today's Starseed Healing Circle. So in today's session we are going to Dendera, to the Egyptian Hathor Temple, and we will be doing a kinesiology balance to bring it all together, bring the healing in. As always, I don't know what I'm going to do each Monday. I wake up in the morning and I ask the question to my guides, what are we doing today? And I am usually surprised, or sometimes not, but there's always something new coming up. And whatever the healing modality is that comes up, I dowse using pendulums and body testing and muscle testing to find the exact steps that we follow throughout the process. And just to give you an idea, again, I may have said this in previous sessions before, but when I do these dowsing sessions, it's not like I'm dowsing through a list that I can visually see. Let me just quickly see, like for example, I have 924 emotions listed. And obviously I don't have those memorized. I've got those on charts. And so I would literally dowse through and find, what number are we working with? And you get your number. When I just write down the number, I've got no idea what the emotion is. In the same way for corrections, I've got over 400 correction techniques. So I just write the numbers down, and it's only once I've got all of the numbers and the entire sequence that I put it all together, and then I see what the emotions and the corrections and the balances are. And it's always just magic when we see how things sort of build and evolve. And it's, yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that. It's magic. So none of these things are selected because I felt they were the best thing to be selected. These are selected because they came up in the dowsing. So without further ado, let's go into our tune-in. As we are visiting the Hathor Temple today in Dendera, we're working with the light code for Hathor. So let's find a moment to just think about what it is that you would like to work with today. What would you like to heal? What would you like to release? What would you like to let go of? What would you like to manifest? And once you know what your focus or your intention is, just allow your eyes to gently rest on the light code, or perhaps trace the light code with your eyes like it's a labyrinth for the eyes. Keep your focus and awareness on what it is that you would like to heal, manifest, create, let go of. And use this time as an attunement to attune yourself to your goal, to your focus, and to also attune yourself to the group receiving healing with you, because we are all in this together. And you can stay here as long as you need. Pause the recording if you have to. Okay. So the journey continues in Dendera, which is in Egypt, of course. Last one we went to the Temple of Seti. And so from Seti to the Hathor Temple is, I think, about an hour and a half's drive. I can't remember. It was a long drive. And let's get into the image for today. So just to give you an overview of the temple itself, let's get my screen organized. So this is the main temple. There is a little Isis temple just behind it. So where it says 1 to 10 storerooms and side chapels, over there, there is a little Isis temple. And where it says here the 1.685 feet, and off a little bit into the distance, but in this direction, there is a dam as well. And there is another little temple just before you get to the entrance door. a little side chapel. So there's a few things happening here. This particular temple it's actually quite massive, and the floor plan itself does not really show us how massive this temple is, because here with this particular temple we can go up to the roof where there's extra rooms, and there are little secret passages towards the bottom where you can go into as well. This is like, this is a dream, this place. If I would have loved to seen this place when it was built and it was fresh and new and being used, it would have been incredible. Having said that, this is still one of the temples in Egypt that is the most intact, which is, yeah, if you see the inside, you'll see that there's actually quite a lot that's not intact anymore, but this is one of the most intact temples. Okay, so let's have a quick squiz inside. This is the little side chapel just before you get to the main entrance. So it's just a small room that typical vultures along the ceiling, as we see in all of the temples, which for me was just like, I was obsessed with these vultures, because every single temple you go into brings clearing and healing. And it stirs things up. It does bring some things up. So throughout this journey, there were different things being stirred up. At the end of this little chapel, there is the portals, the doorways that can lead the person into the astral and into different levels and layers. But yeah, this was just our little first stop before we entered in. This is the temple, and the size, you can see just how massive this temple is. They have gated it up, but obviously traditionally there were no gates here. You could just walk in. You can see the Hathor's faces on top. There's 6 of those columns. Unfortunately, they have all been defaced. And this is one of the sad things about the temple tours and visits, that wherever you go, most of the temples have been defaced, and it is usually early Christians that arrived in Egypt, and they understood the power that these gods and deities held, and so they defaced them so that you couldn't recognize them by face, and then therefore they diminished the power. But yeah, let's move on. So there are still, this is one of the, on the right, one of the intact faces of the top of a pillar. Obviously this would have been painted back in the day, but that's the faces that you would have seen on the pillars on top. On the left, we have a little statue of Bes, which is the god of fertility and also luck and protection. He's a dwarf, and he lives under the bed in the house. And it was just cute to see his little pink cheeks. This is as we enter into the temple. You can see above the doorway there is Aten or Aten Ra. So the sun disk with the wings, and then if you look a little bit further up, there's the vultures as well. So as you walk through the door, the light and the sun shines light on you, which of course, if we shine light on things, the shadow comes out, and the shadow is what the vultures are picking off. This is the inside. This is the ceiling. So as you look up, you can see all the columns here have Hathor's face on them. You can see they have been painted. So there's the color schemes that come through in this particular temple is this sort of red, brown, and turquoise blue. So the entire temple is decorated in these colors. It is magnificent. The ceiling for most part is untouched. But unfortunately, if you look on the pillars, you can see it just at the bottom right. The entire face and body has all been chipped off so that you can't see that. But this is Hathor standing over there. Another ceiling, you can again see the faces have been taken off, which is extremely sad. What makes this temple so incredible, I'm just going to go back to this one again. if you look on the ceiling, the entire ceiling is filled with astrological data and information. So they talk about the zodiac, and like everything is in here. It's pretty incredible. We had a few astrologers in the group with us, and they could pick out constellations and astrological information, which is very, very fascinating. Going on to I've actually got the pictures. I should have swapped them the other way around, but it doesn't matter. The one on the left is the staircase going up to the roof, and it's a spiral staircase that goes up. And then the one that I've got on the right hand side is the staircase going down, which is a straight long staircase. So the idea with this is that this is a Hathor temple, but Hathor's consort or husband or lover or partner was Horus. Horus is the hawk. And so the staircase, the spiral staircase going up, is to symbolize the upward flight of the hawk. So as it flies up, as it climbs up, it will spiral up. And then when it comes down, it swoops down in a one long straight line. And so this staircase is to represent that. And so going up to the roof, this is part of an initiation as well. You could spiral up and then you could swoop down. I believe that the staircases were used in both directions, so they would sometimes also use the straight staircase to go up and vice versa, but the direction that you would want to go to really get the benefit of this is spiraling up and then straight down. And yeah, it's a little bit of, it almost feels like a bit of a maze to find these, and it was a nice surprise to walk around a corner and see this little staircase and then to spiral up. Going down to the bottom, this is in one of those secret passages. This is, some of you may have seen this before. This is those light bulbs that they call them. With the jet pillars, and then you've got these lotus flowers with these snakes, and they're all in this tubes. This is a very narrow little passage. You've got to go down a very steep set of stairs and then down this very, very tiny passage. These were initiation chambers, or according to the history, they call it crypts. And there are a few of these very narrow passages that goes under the temple, which was really nice to get into. This is also the temple where we've got the Dendera, the zodiac. This one that we have here is actually a replica, because the original one is sitting in the Louvre in Paris. They moved it there in, I think, 1820 or 1821 or something like that. And they then made a replica of it to come back to Egypt. And the coloring that we have here is the suit, because the Bedouins used the temple as a shelter, and they would make fires within the temple, and the suit would cover the ceilings. So wherever we had those blue ceilings, let me just quickly go back to these, they've actually removed the suit to reveal the original coloring that was sitting underneath this. But a lot of the ceilings and walls are even covered with this suit, because the temple was halfway under the sand for many years. And also a reminder that this temple is about 2,000 years old. Actually, it could be between 2,000 and 3,000 years. Also, throughout this temple, there are these little rooms high up on the ceilings. So this is one of those little rooms. I took a photo from up there. So I'm actually like right on the ceiling, and the doorway is down below. And they've got these staircases, or not staircases, but ladders, where you can climb up to go into these little rooms. Most of these rooms have been closed off, so it's not open to the public. But I found one that was open, and went in there, and the energy was just incredible. I did a little bit of meditation there, and when I came down, one of the temple guardians grabbed me by the arm, and I was like, oh crap, what did I do? And he grabbed me and he pulled me off to one direction. He says, come, and then he opened up chamber upon chamber upon chamber for me of these little rooms. And you'd say, go up, go meditate. Because normally when you step into a temple in Egypt, they say, no meditation, no meditation. They're very strict about that. And this temple guardian grabbed me and took me up into all these little rooms and allowed me some time to meditate and soak up the energy, which was really beautiful, very special. This is a little image of Nut on one of the ceilings, and you'll see on her mouth is the sun, on the pelvis is the sun, and the rays from the sun is shining onto this little square with Hathor's face. So it's just symbolic that Nut is giving birth to Hathor. So Nut is considered or seen as the mother of Hathor. And then just a little bit more details of the roof and the ceiling and the temple itself. So yeah, I've got loads more images, but I don't want to bog you down with too many of the images. This temple was really magnificent. It was an incredible energy, and for me, the colors were just exquisite. That turquoise blue with this red ochre was just beautiful. And this particular temple you could really spend days in. I would love to spend days and days here. But anyway, that is our journey for today. The main thing with this particular temple was that it's a temple dedicated to Hathor, which is the goddess of love, joy, music, healing, and all those beautiful things. She's the consort of Horus. Horus is the avenger. He's one of those main gods that's also are seen everywhere, and is seen as the pharaoh. So Hathor and Horus, they are this sort of dream team couple that is seen everywhere within Egypt, and there are stories around how the temple works. So the whole spiral staircase and the long staircase down, that is the stairs specific for Horus when he comes to visit Hathor. And in the Edfu temple, they also have the spiral staircase and straight one, because that's the Horus temple. So you've got these two temples where Horus would have moved between, and then Hathor would have been moving between them as well. So very, very interesting. Okay, so let's get into the healing session now, because that's really why we are here. So for the healing today, we are working with kinesiology or kinesiopractic. And for our goal, focus, and intention, and all of those things, I am using our tuning that we have. So I'm just going to remind you again, just bring back to your awareness what it is that you're wanting to work with today. What is your focus, your healing, your release, your manifestation, your clearing, whatever it is that you are working with. Bring that to your consciousness. You may want to write it down if you haven't done so yet. And so throughout the session, I may be bringing up or calling up emotions, and we may be calling up words or things like that. So I would always say, bring it back to your goal. How does it relate to the goal? Okay, so I'm just quickly taking out the Wands of Horus cards because I'm going to need them in a second. And so let's look at our healing work for today. Okay, so let's look at our work for today. Okay, so in relation to your goal, your focus for today, the emotion that comes up is hope, and it's in relation to emotional expression. So coming back to your focus and your goal, whatever that may be, where are you expressing hope? Where do you need to express hope? Where are you not hopeful enough? Those are some of the questions that you can ask yourself around that. I would strongly advise and recommend throughout the session to pause the video periodically and just to contemplate, make down a few notes, take down a few notes just to see how this would relate for you, because the digger you can, the deeper you can dig into what these emotions mean for you, the more healing can take place here. So hope in relation to emotional expression, obviously in relation to your goal. Okay, then we have our sabotage. Now the sabotage is our shadow, our core belief, whatever is holding us back, whatever is limiting us, so our limiting beliefs here. And the limiting belief that we have is, I can support myself from home, or I cannot support myself from home. Now, because this is a limiting belief, it could go two ways. One could be sitting on the fence. So you believe that you can support yourself from home, but you also believe that you can't. So there's a both are true, but I'm not quite sure which one is true. Or it could be a reversal where you go, I cannot support myself from home. So perhaps this is something that you wanted to do. Perhaps it's something that you're moving towards, where you want to work for yourself, or you are working for yourself, but there's this inner conflict that says, I can't. The emotion that sits with this is conquered in relation to schooling. So most likely what happened here is the way that we've been schooled, the way we've been educated, the way society tells us to be and behave, has told us that it's not possible to work from home or to support yourself from home. And this has led you to feel conquered. Just a reminder again, these are doused from lists. I have not seen these emotions until I put them in here to put them all together. So that is our whole story. So what I want you to do here is, for a moment, close your eyes, and I want you to focus on your goal. Just make sure that you can move your legs and feet a little bit. So what you want to do is, once you've got your goal in place, I want you to take your feet together and your knees, and then take your feet and knees apart so that you've got your legs a little bit apart from each other. What we're doing is we're locking that information in. That was your goal. Next, I want you to think about the emotion of hope in relation to emotional expression. Legs are still where they are. So think about hope in relation to emotional expression. Then you're going to open your jaw, hold it open, and then while you've got your jaw open, you're going to put your knees and feet together, and you're going to take your knees and feet apart again. So I'm just going to do that quick, hope and emotion. And then you can release your jaw. Okay. Next, you're going to look at the sabotage. I can support myself from home. I cannot support myself from home. And I want you to select the one that you struggle with the most. So I'm going to use I cannot support myself from home. I cannot support myself from home. And then you're going to open your jaw. While your jaw is open, knees and feet together, knees and feet apart. So I'm going to do that. I cannot support myself from home. Okay. Then we had the emotion of conquered in relation to schooling. So think about that. Conquered in relation to schooling. Jaw. Okay. We're doing a little bit of brain gym over here, getting the brain and the body and everything synchronized. Okay. Now you're going to take your thumb, and then on your, just this center piece here above your nose, swipe up once and twice and 3 times. Then you can relax your hips and your knees, and we are good to go. Hope that didn't confuse you too much, but if it did, I've got the information in circuit, so you are good to go. Okay, then I'm going to just test a few things. These are things I'm testing live. So, is there enough or too much sweetness in your life to achieve this goal? So this one's giving us an indication. I'm just looking down with the eyes. Do you feel that love is not enough? Okay, and I'm going to look to the right. Can you see yourself achieve this goal? Okay, so these are just little pre-tests that I'm doing to check whether we are all in alignment, and in all of our cases the body is saying no, like we can't do any of those things. We want to do it, but we can't. We'll check those again at the end of the session. Okay, so first correction that came up, electrical 3.5A. So we've got finger modes that we use within kinesiology, and we use those to test whether something is a valid correction to do. So our first correction that comes up is the star point balance. And this star point balance comes up when there is resistance to facing the future, and this could be mental, emotional, or spiritual. It could be when we need to be more resilient, when we need fortification, when we need balance in yin and yang, so the positive and the negative. Or it could be when there's a lot of stress and tension. Perhaps you feel that I don't have any more to give. I'm done. I'm spent. And this particular correction also helps balance and getting the breath right, and also your digestion. So quite a powerful correction. And as most of the corrections, it's actually relatively simple. So our Wands of Horus cards that's coming up is the Divine Masculine. Divine Masculine is going above the crown. We have the Tiet, Buckle of Isis. This is going onto the liver. The liver is about anger and resentment. And then we've got Neta Neteru, and this is going onto the spleen chakra. Oh, how interesting. Forming as again, I'm like, wow. Again, these things were doused. I did not check where they were. I am only seeing them right now with you. So it's like, we've got a triangle. Wow. Okay. Let's go into the correction itself. So we're going to go into here and there. Here is what we're doing. Is there enough space for my head to be? Yep. Okay. So what I need you to do is I need you to focus. Need to get into the emotion of this as well. The emotion that came up is exhausted, and it's in relation to sacrifice. Okay, wow. Remember what I said to you. This particular one is all about I am spent, like I don't have energy left, and all of that, to build the resilience and fortification. Again, I doused these lists. I did not check the emotions until I put them in here when I check the numbers, and again just see how they relate. So exhausted in relation to sacrifice. I need you to feel into what that means for you in relation to your goal. Where are you exhausted? Where have you sacrificed yourself? Where have you sacrificed your time, your effort, whatever it may be? Where have you done that? And now, while you're holding all of that in your focus, and keep it in your focus throughout this correction, we're going to do this balance. So the left hand is going to go to your throat. You can just take the fingertips to the throat, or you can take your entire hand to the throat, whatever feels comfortable for you. And your right hand is going to go to the opposite hip. And we're going to hold this for probably about 30 seconds or so. So just hold this. Keep focusing on exhausted in relation to sacrifice. Where are you spent? Where is there too much tension going on? Breathe slow and deep. Next, you're going to take your right hand to your throat and your left hand to the opposite hip. Keep focusing on exhausted, sacrifice. Where do you need resilience? Balancing of yin and yang. Next, you take your right hand to your left hip, your left hand to your right shoulder. Becoming aware of any sensations you may feel in the body, perhaps changes to your breath. And then we're going to swap our hands around. So now the right hand, right hand to the left shoulder, and the left hand to the right hip. Sorry, I had a little bit of a brain freeze. We hold that for 30 seconds. On my side, what's happening is my body is starting to do this little gentle rocking. That usually for me indicates that the energy is harmonizing and balancing. I've already felt that my breath had changed, has gone deeper and slower. And also I felt some micro movements within the body. Okay, let's release that. And then coming back into the space. Okay, let's remove those Wands of Horus cards. That's it. How are you feeling? Perhaps take note of any insights that may have come in for you, any feelings or anything that came up for you. Okay, so while I'm at it, I'm just going to quickly elect those electrical 3 A. So I'm just checking pendulum to see whether we need to do anything more. That's all good. Next, we've got electrical 2.5 C. So that is finger mode over there. This particular correction is called a blood vessel correction or blood vessel balance. Blood vessel balance comes up when there's blood pressure problems. And so basically we're looking at the arteries and veins have circular and longitudinal muscles that sit along the veins. So they hold the veins in place. And when they tighten up, they can push up or raise the blood pressure. If they are not, or if they're too relaxed, they can lower the blood pressure. So the blood pressure obviously makes sure that everything flows properly within the body. If you have low blood pressure, then you don't have the capacity to do certain things. And if you've got high blood pressure, it could cause problems within the body as well. So in general, this particular balance comes up when we are under pressure, whether it's mentally, physical, emotional, spiritual, when there are promises, commitments, or pacts that we made. And these could be things that in the moment we believed would be true, and later on you've actually come to realize that there was no way for you to keep that promise. So this could come through in things like I promise that I will be with you forever, or I promise that I will love you forever, or people who make blood brothers pacts, where they go, we'll be blood brothers forever and ever. And I know some people who have done that, who now don't see each other and speak to each other. They've got nothing in common. They haven't spoken to each other for years. But when they were children, they felt that they were the besties forever. Also, limiting beliefs that we may have. For example, blood is thicker than water, where we believe that we are going to turn out like the family because of the blood relation that we have. So anything like that, anything where there's an internal or an external pressure, or it could be physical blood pressure. Okay. The emotion that comes up in relation to this is independent, and it's in relation to financial planning. So is there any pressure or tension around financial planning and independence for you? Okay, so keep that in your mind. I've already dowsed to see what we need to do, because there's about, I think there's 3 or 4 different correction techniques that we can do within this particular balance. And I've already got what that is, and that is neurolymphatic points and neurovasculars. Normally what we would do is we would do both at the same time, but I think you need 2 hands for both of these. So we're going to do one and then we're going to do the other. So here are our points. The first point is these sort of raglan sleeves that we have next to our deltoids. Maybe I'll just take my video bigger quicker so you can see what I'm talking about. So deltoid runs here, and there is a groove here and here. And so there's going to be a slight sorry, my brain's out. My brain is not functioning. It's a slight outward movement from the clavicle down and out. So following the shape of the pec. And what you're going to do is to go, you can do hands like this, or you can cross your arms and then do it like that, whatever works for you. You can do fingertips or you can do your thumbs, and basically what we want to do is we want to rub so that the skin moves in that area. So I'm just going to use my thumbs here and rub. We're going to be rubbing for about 30 seconds. So you can dig a little bit in if you wanted to. You could also cross over and do that, but if you do this, you actually the muscles contract, so it's a bit easier to do it like this. So just rub that. We're thinking about independence and financial planning. If there is a little bit of like tension where you are rubbing, that is really good, as in like it could be a little bit sensitive. Next, I'm taking index finger and middle finger together. They are going here on the forehead, sort of just on the hairline. And then the other one, 2 fingers onto the top of the head. Place your fingers really, really lightly, just touching the skin. And breathe slow and deep. You can close your eyes. Think about independence and financial planning. Let's release. Oh, and I forgot to just tell you what we had here for the Wands of Horus cards. We had the physical body. Let me quickly get my video back up. We had the physical body, and that is on the Hara point. We had the Union card, and that was on the right ankle. And then we had the Divine Child on the base chakra. So the right foot is about stepping out of the past, stepping out of what no longer serves. Base chakra is about our roots, our grounding, our anchoring, our physicality. And the Hara is your alignment in life. So I think that these also tied in quite nicely with the work that we've done here. Okay, right. Then moving on, we're now moving into the past. So that the 2 corrections we've done were in the present time. Now we're going to go into the past. And the past is, this is non-specified, so we don't need to know exactly when this was. And what we have for this particular correction is the Jed pillar, before I forget again, the stability structure. This goes onto the Hara point. And the emotion that comes up for this particular correction is drained, and it's in relation to birth trauma. So birth trauma, how did birth trauma drain us? And how does birth trauma drain us? We all have birth trauma. We are here. So the correction here is Spiritual 7a, and it comes up as focused meditation. And normally when focused meditation comes up, it's a call for us to remove external distractions. It's a time for us to direct our attention, usually internally, or we need to focus or direct our attention onto something. It could be that there's just too much going on in life. Now, remember, we are working in the past, so we're actually clearing and balancing, harmonizing something from the past. But this particular exercise is something that you can do as homework, and I'm actually going to recommend this as homework because as I dowsed through to see what we needed to do, it circled back to the Hathor story, and there's something called the 5 gifts of Hathor. And so this is coming through as our correction to do with this particular balance. So the balance or the focused meditation is any form of meditation. It could be anything, like you could be focusing on a candle flame, you could be focusing on a poem or whatever. It could be anything. But as I dowsed through to see what are we as a group supposed to focus on, the 5 gifts of Hathor came up. And as I was searching for an image to use, I came upon this, which is just a line drawing of an artifact that they discovered, most likely around the Hathor Temple. We've got Hathor's face at the bottom of the handle. Hathor has the cow's ears so that she can better hear what's happening in the world. And then she has her cobra crown on top of her head. And then there is a left hand. And so the left hand is where the focus would lie for this particular meditation. So what I want you to do here is I want you to have your left hand out in front of you. Let me just actually get my video out. Where's my video? It doesn't have to be in front of your face, like just somewhere in front of you. Use your right hand to hold onto your forearms. And then you're going to look at your hand. Okay. So what would have been done traditionally in the Hathor Temple, and it was usually when people struggled, they would go to the temple and go with whatever was heavy on their chest or whatever they were struggling with, and the priestess would grab their forearm and would say, name 5 things that you would miss the most if you were to die right now. So I'm asking those same questions to you right now. Name 5 things that you would miss the most if you were to die right now. And you're going to count them off on your fingers. So whatever it could be anything. My cat, my house, my this, whatever. 5 things. Count them off on your fingers. I'm going to give you some time to do that. Okay. If you don't have your 5 things yet, pause the recording. We're not moving on until you've got your 5 things. If you have your 5 things, right, what you do then is you bring your hand right up in front of your face where you can see it. Okay, and the priestess would then say to you, these are the 5 gifts of Hathor. Every day, you have at least these 5 things to be grateful for. And should you lose one of them, there will always be another to replace it. Okay, so remember that. Every day, you have at least these 5 things to be grateful for. And should you lose one, you can always replace it with another. Then the reminder, you can now let go of your hand. The reminder now is that whenever you reach for anything with your left hand, for example, my water, this is a reminder. Whenever you see your left hand, this is a reminder of your 5 gifts of Hathor. Whenever you look at your hand, you're reminded of those 5 things. And so I would recommend that you do this particular meditation. It could be quick, it could be 1 minute or 2 minutes a day. Do it for at least 10 days and do it the first thing in the morning. Name 5 things. And then for the rest of the day, whenever you see your hand, remind yourself of what that is. And when you go to bed at night, just remind yourself, what are the 5 things? And it's okay if the 5 things change the next day and the next day and the next day and the next day. But do this exercise for at least 10 days and see how that works for you. Okay, so that was spiritual, 7A, and that's lucky. Right. Next one, our final correction for today, parasites or parasitic energy. And the emotion that we have here is uncertain in relation to compromise. I did tell you about the Wands of Horus. So uncertain in relation to compromise. So where are you uncertain about compromises, or where are you compromising because you are feeling uncertain? Our Wands of Horus card is the Divine Feminine, and it's on the left shoulder. So the shoulders are the burdens or the things that we carry. Left is incoming, and the Divine Feminine is to be receptive, to receive the future, to receive the new future coming in. Our correction here, parasitic energy, this could be actual physical parasites, as in you have worms, and newsflash, we all have parasites. It could be emotional parasites, it could be mental parasites, it could be spiritual parasites. There are energies around us that feed off emotions, and it's not just good or bad emotions, they feed off emotions, period. There are mental parasites that feed off mental patterns and behaviors. And what these parasites would do, mental or emotional, is they inject their little poisons so that they can get more of the emotion that they feed off. So if there's a parasite that feeds off fear, it's going to keep injecting little bits of fear, even if you've got nothing to be fearful of. And you will feel fear, and most people don't question the feeling of the fear, they just feel it and carry on with life. But that parasite then feeds off that. So this particular correction is to release some of those parasites, and to release it in a very gentle way, and in a way that you don't really have to be aware of how many you've got and where they sit and all of that stuff. So let's have a look at our image. This is just an image of a plant with or a tree with a parasitic plant growing on top of it. This is usually a nice visual to use. So what I want you to do is to place one hand on the forehead and one hand on the back of the head. Doesn't matter which way around it is. It's just about stimulating that front and back of the head. Close your eyes. And I want you to visualize yourself as a beautiful, big tree. Now imagine that this tree has a parasite growing on it. See what that parasite looks like. How does it attach to the tree? Feel how it actually sucks out the life force, how it uses all of the energy that you as a tree are producing from gathering sunlight and water and nutrients from the soil, how you convert that through photosynthesis, how you move all of your nutrients around within your tree body, and how the parasite just takes and takes and takes. Now imagine that you as a tree can speed up time, and you can watch your own evolution. So speed up the clock of time and see yourself evolve to have a mechanism in place that's going to ward off this particular parasite. Perhaps your bark gets really sharp spikes. Perhaps you produce a toxin that kills the parasite. Perhaps you have a waxy layer around your tree that blocks the parasite from attaching. Whatever it may be, see yourself evolving into a way that does not allow for this parasite to have a hold on you anymore. Spend as much time here as you need. In some cases, you may find that the parasite will also evolve. Then just take your evolution a step further. Get to a point where that parasite can no longer have an effect on you at all. And then see what it feels like to be a tree on your own, with your own nutrients, sunlight, water, with nothing stealing from you. When you're ready, you may open your eyes and come back to this space. So just looking at the emotion that we had here, uncertain in relation to compromise, that could be a place where the parasite has an entry point on you. So look at where you are compromising your energy. Look at where you are feeling uncertain. Do we need anything else here? Okay. So I just checked to see whether we needed some antiparasitic or anything like that. Pendulum said no, so we don't need to dig any deeper into any of those. So this visualization serves as a way to release. Then I also like to bring in an Aura Soma bottle. This is just to sort of, because we've now completed all the corrections. And the Aura Soma bottle is a way to get a little bit more insight as to what we are working with within the session, and also perhaps some homework or an affirmation of sorts. So this is bottle 107. It's an opalescent turquoise over a deep magenta. And again, this is doused. So I am just so surprised at the color combination that's coming up here with that turquoise and the deep magenta. Can't really see. The deep magenta is like a very deep purpley reddish color, which reminds me of the red ochre that we had in the Hathor Temple, and then obviously the turquoise that's prevalent everywhere within the Hathor Temple. So the color scheme here is just like, again, my mind is blown every time. And the bottle name is Archangel Zafkiel, or Tzafkiel. And this is all about the love of a mother. It's the support from the divine feminine. It's about creativity. And it's about love and truth. And these are all qualities of what Hathor stood for. So the dominant characteristics here is that love and compassion and creativity. It's how we express our love through everything we do. And how the more light we shine through our hearts, the more we can disperse the shadows within. And so it is an invitation to express our deepest feelings from the heart and of the heart. And the challenges for this is to learn to let go of anxieties and feelings of vulnerability. So to let go of all the fears and to express love. There is an affirmation here. The sea of consciousness opens before me as I let go of the past. The sea of consciousness opens before me as I let go of the past. The sea of the sea of consciousness opens up before me as I let go of the past. And then finally, we're wanting to look at if there's anything that keeps us from being willing and responsible to accept our changes. So we just want to clear any negative emotions or even positive emotions that may stand in our way of being willing and responsible to accept the changes of this particular healing that we're doing today. And the first emotions that comes up is unappreciated. So what you're going to do is take your ring finger and thumb together. Let me just quickly get to my main camera. Ring finger and thumb together. Your index finger and middle finger, you're going to use those two to tap behind your ears. It's going to sound very loud with my earphones on, but you can tap behind the ears on the mastoid process. So ring finger and thumb, tap behind. While you are doing that, you are going to say, I feel unappreciated. I feel unappreciated. And while you do that, you're going to do eye rotations. So you're going to have your head facing forward. You're going to look up and then look to the corners and to the middle, corner, middle, corner, middle, corner, up, reverse, corner, middle, middle. So imagine you've got a very big box in front of you and your eyes are looking in those directions. Head stays still while tapping and while you're saying, I feel unappreciated. So I'm going to do that with you. I will remove the microphone. So let's hope that you can hear what I'm saying. I feel unappreciated. 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 Next one is I feel numb. I feel numb, 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 I feel numb. And then the last one is I feel fulfilled. I feel fulfilled, 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 I feel fulfilled. Okay, that's it. Done. So basically when we do those eye rotations, looking at different directions, we activate different parts of the brain. Tapping behind the ears, we're saying to the brain, find this is important, focus on this. And so basically we're finding all of those emotions anywhere within the brain and we're gathering them. I feel unappreciated. And we're saying to the brain, let's chuck these. No need for this. Get rid of them. Boom. Feeling numb, let's get rid of those. Feeling fulfilled, let's get rid of those. If you feel fulfilled, there's no space to grow. So this is going to give us an opportunity for growth over here. Okay, and then we're going to just go back and very quickly check our first things that came up. So, pendulum. Our first emotion was hope, and it was in relation to emotional expression. Pendulum is unchanged, so that's all good. I can support myself. I can not support myself. Good. That's not affecting us anymore. Conquered in relation to schooling. That's all good. Okay, I'm just going to check these first ones. Is there enough or too little sweetness in your life to achieve this goal? We had one that looks down. Do you feel that love is not enough? We had the one that looked right. Can you see yourself achieve this goal? We're all holding. Yay. And then finally, last little bit, homework. So homework, remember your 5 gifts of Hathor. Count those, work with those for at least 10 days. Other homework pieces that come up, and this is optional for you, you can see how that's going to fit in with you, is self-hypnosis and spiritual retreats. So spiritual retreat is going on a retreat or organizing a retreat or whatever. It could be a retreat, could be anything that you do for yourself. It could be just like taking one day out or whatever. Self-hypnosis, there's billions of those on YouTube. It's any guided meditation really is a self-hypnosis. Anything where you use hypnotherapy or guided work, guided imagery to make changes within your life. So see if you can incorporate those in some way, shape, or form. So just one final thing to do, and that is to release the information that we started with. And so you're going to take 2 fingers and just tap on your forehead like 1, 2, 3, and we are all done. Then one final question for you, and that is, how is life going to be different? Taking all of the information that came up, all of the emotions, all of what you felt, whatever your goal is and your focus and your awareness, how is your life going to be different based on the insights that you've gained, the healing that came through, the information that came through, the feelings and sensations that came through for you personally? how is your life going to be different? And I leave you with that, and I look forward to seeing you in the next session. I'm sending you so much love and light. Take care.